Hi, welcome to the Jackman. We're stuck at home today because it's icy conditions outside, and yeah, like we haven't been stuck at home for years now. Anyway, what we're going to do today is show you how we feed Jack. We feed Jack using a tube through his little port right here. His is different than probably most other kids who have feeding tubes.
Yeah.
What do they have?
He has a barred button low profile. So it's not like the Mickey buttons that have to be changed once a month. His doesn't need to be changed. One day he will have to have a replacement for it when it gets too tight, he gets too big. But yeah, his is just a little small button that we just open and close.
And that day may be coming pretty soon. We've been noticing that it's starting to leak a little bit more. I mean, a little leakage is normal, but in fact, last night we noticed that it's starting to leak. I wouldn't say significantly, but when we plunge the syringe, it's starting to come out. He's put on a lot of weight in just a year's time. Anyway, that all being said, let's show you how we feed Jack. And I know it's going to be different than how so many of you with children with feeding tubes feed theirs. So here we go. So the first thing I do is flush the tube with some water. Leave it at about 5 cc's right there. We don't want to put too much fluid in the stomach at one time. We want to make sure our stuff is open because we're only going to have one hand, most likely. All right, set that down. We've got our tube with the water in the tube are all flushed out, so we're gonna pop this turkey open. We'll plug him in. All right, and now, since this is already open, we're going to, I'm not gonna fill it up all the way. I've just got some in there. Make sure there's no air bubble here. I mean, if a little air gets in his stomach, it's not a big deal. It's not like it's a vein or anything, we just don't want him, making noises out of either end for the rest of the day. And then we pop it open, and there it goes. Just gonna hold it up and let gravity do its thing. Just let it go in its own time. The reason we can feed him like this every time is because he can tolerate it. Not every kid's stomach is able to tolerate the speed at which this is fed. So I mean, we could hook him up to a pump and feed him. The pump would generally last about an hour. I mean, you could speed that up too, but this is just easier and faster, and he can tolerate it. So that's what we're able to do, and that's just what we've been doing for months now. Well, for over a year now, he's been fed through a tube. But when he's sick or something, when he has any kind of stomach issues, then we switch over to the pump. There's a video on that right here. You just follow this here, and we just let it play out. Hey, man. Oh, he's being silly. He's tired today. It's cold today, huh, man? He's been sleeping pretty much all day. Well, bless you.
And if any of you are wondering why we don't vent him after a feeding or before a feeding, we don't really need to. We learned how to do it in the hospital after his surgery. They taught us how we were comfortable with it and everything, but in all honesty, anytime we open up his port to feed him or anything, the air comes out by itself.
Michael Jackson.
And he also, he lets his gas out in the normal ways as well. And also, he's never had any problems with acid reflux at all, thankfully, even before his tube and now after. He tolerates everything really well. The only time his tummy gives him any kind of trouble is when he's sick. We haven't had too much of a problem with granulation tissue around the stoma. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's the buildup of tissue right around where Jack's port is.
Gross.
Basically, Basically, any hole in the body that's not supposed to be there, the body will grow tissue to close it back up. And you know that from ear piercings or any kind of piercings and things like that. Right after his surgery, he started to have a little bit of this granulation tissue. There are different techniques to get rid of it. Silver nitrate is what his surgeon's office used. We did bring him there and they treated it. He gets a little bit here and there, but we've never had to use any of the other treatments. It's never gotten that bad. And Jack is fed only formula through the tube. That was not the actual original plan. He was still eating by mouth, and so the plan was that he would have maybe 3 cans of formula a day and then eat by mouth either 1 or 2 meals. But we noticed pretty quickly that when he eat by mouth, he wasn't interested, and I think it was just a big relief to him also, because he was just starting to gain weight. So we just kind of did away with the by mouth feeding and just stayed with formula. And so that's what we've been doing ever since.
All right, so the last of it's coming down. Here we go. All right, now it's not going to drain all the way. Now some, original instructions were to take water, flush the rest with water. We would do that if we weren't going to take this out and wash it ourselves. So we rinse it out every time we use it. So we don't really need to flush it out because we'll just rinse it in the sink. So we'll take this, we'll give it a quick little plunge, very gently, because we don't want it to go too fast. There we go. Cut it off, and we are done. I'll try to close this as fast as possible because some inevitably comes out anyway, because the air just pushes it back out. But that's about as clean as it gets right there. And that is the feeding portion of the Jack Man. So, all right, just that out with hot water. Run this turkey through. Generally speaking, the water's supposed to go through it. There we go. Also just do this another thing. I like to have fun with it. Plug it with some water. All right, well that'll do it for feeding Jack. Like I said, we're gonna have to make an appointment with the surgeon or his pediatrician or somebody to see about, the port. But he may have to get a new one put in because he's grown so fast and put on so much weight. And we will definitely be showing you that should that happen. It will happen eventually. I guess it's gonna happen a lot sooner than we thought. With that being said, if you didn't know,
now you know.